Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. When I began thinking about what I could share with you this morning, an unexpected but perfect image popped into my head. A boy, a kite, a lot of wind, and a long, familiar history of failure. I saw a determined little boy with a round head standing in an open field, filled with hope, even though he had every reason to feel discouraged. Charlie Brown. Yes, that eternal optimist, perpetually disappointed, big-hearted little philosopher who just can't seem to catch a break. The more I sat with that image, the more I realized Charles Schulz didn't just create a comic strip. He gave us a profound spiritual teacher or teachers disguised in childlike simplicity. These characters have captured our hearts for generations, not just because they're funny or sweet, but because they mirror something true in each of us. Schulz himself was no stranger to asking the deeper questions of life. He once said the whole theology of peanuts is the theology of the average person who has trouble. And isn't that refreshing? Not the theology of the saint or the sage, but of the everyday person, the one who stumbles, who struggles, who tries again. People like Charles and Myrtle, our Unity founders, people like you, and people like me. Today we're going to look at the Peanuts gang, Charlie Brown, Snoopy, Linus, Lucy, and Schroeder, and see how their stories, their ups and downs, can light our way. So, Unity principle number 1, God is everywhere. There is only one power and one presence. Let's begin our journey with Linus Van Pelt, the quiet prophet of the Peanuts world. Linus, with his tousled hair and his ever-present blue security blanket, embodies a paradox many of us know well in our spiritual lives. He's both insecure and profoundly wise. He clings to that blanket for the comfort, yet time and again, he's the one who steps up and shares the deepest truth in the entire Peanuts universe. Remember that magnificent moment in A Charlie Brown Christmas. The Christmas pageant's falling apart. Everyone's distracted, frustrated, lost in commercialism. Charlie Brown, exasperated and overwhelmed, finally cries out, "Isn't there anyone who knows what Christmas is all about?" And who answers? Not Lucy with her bossy advice, not Snoopy with his antics. It's Linus. Sweet, steady Linus, who walks to the center of the stage, asks for the spotlight, and with perfect clarity recites the Christmas story from the Gospel of Luke. And here's what makes that scene truly extraordinary. As Linus says the words, "Fear not," he lets go of his security blanket. The very thing he clings to in every other moment slips from his grasp as he speaks divine truth. That's not just good storytelling, that's powerful spiritual symbolism. When Linus connects with divine presence, his human fear temporarily fades. His blanket, usually a symbol of his vulnerability, falls away as his faith takes center stage. Unity Principle 1 teaches that there is only one power and one presence active in the universe. God the good, omnipotent. Not a God who lives somewhere far away watching from the clouds, but a God who is everywhere always, right here, right now. Linus reminds us of this in the simplest, most beautiful way. God is in the blanket. God is in the fear. God is in the trembling voice that dares speak up. God is the courage that rises within us when we need it most. Many of us have our own version of a security blanket. It might not be blue and made of fabric, but we know what it's like to hold on to something for comfort when we're scared. The miracle is that in those moments of uncertainty, when we feel small, unsure, or overwhelmed, we can still experience divine presence. Not despite our fear or instead of our fear, but right alongside it. And I have to admit that's something I need to be reminded of sometimes daily, with all that's going on in the world these days. Psalms 46:10 reminds us, "Be still and know that I am God." Linus shows us how. In the middle of the chaos, the noise, the pageant gone wrong, he stands still. He trusts. He speaks truth. He reminds us that God is not just present in our victorious moments of clarity, but also in our hesitation, our doubts, and even our need for that security blanket. Because truly, there is only one power and one presence active in every aspect of our lives, in our fear, in our faith, and in the moments we find the courage to let go. Unity principle number 2, we are divine expressions of God. This brings us to everyone's favorite beagle, Snoopy. Oh, Snoopy, the daydreaming, dancing, joy-filled beagle who refuses to be limited by his circumstances. Snoopy isn't content to see his doghouse as just a simple wooden structure. No, in his mind it's a Sopwith camel soaring across the skies as he bravely battles the Red Baron. He's not just a pet, but a World War I flying ace, a celebrated chef, a literary genius starting every novel with the immortal line, "It was a dark and stormy night." In fact, if you're ever in need of a law of attraction type manifestation course, look no further than Snoopy. What spiritual genius lives within this seemingly simple character? Snoopy doesn't just dream, he becomes his dreams. He doesn't merely imagine, he fully embodies his imagination. He refuses to accept the limits others might place on him because of his species, size, or station in life. In Snoopy's world, limitations are made to be danced upon, preferably on top of the doghouse in pure delight. Charles Fillmore wasn't inviting us to deny our humanity. He was calling us to recognize that God expresses in our humanity. Snoopy shows us this principle in action. He doesn't try to escape being a dog. Instead, he expresses the fullness of divine creativity, joy, and possibility through his dogness. How often have we held ourselves back with thoughts like, "I'm just a," or "someone like me couldn't possibly," or "I could never"? Snoopy would find those thoughts ridiculous. He reminds us that we are not our limitations. We are not what the world says we are. We are not even what we've always believed ourselves to be. We are expressions of divine life, creativity, joy, and freedom. Snoopy teaches us a powerful spiritual truth. Creativity, joy, and imagination aren't things we have to go out and find. They're already within us, waiting for us to say yes. When Snoopy flies his imaginary plane or types away at his next novel, he's not pretending to be something he's not. He's showing the world who he really is. And when we channel our inner Snoopy, we do the same thing. I've seen this in so many people who wake up to the realization that they've been limiting their own expression. The moment when someone realizes they don't need to become creative, they only need to express the divine spark that's been there all along. That's the Snoopy moment. That's when joy takes the lead. And let's not forget, Snoopy teaches us to take ourselves lightly, but to take our joy seriously. He shows us that our so-called limitations are often self-imposed. When we tap into our divine nature, we discover abilities and possibilities far beyond what we've imagined. So the next time you feel boxed in by doubt or weighed down by expectations, channel your inner Snoopy. Dance on the doghouse of your limitations. Fly that Sopwith camel of your dreams. Write the novel of your authentic life. And most of all, let your divine spark shine. Unity principle 3. We create our life experiences through our thoughts and feelings. Enter Charlie Brown, the patron saint of persistence and possibility. If there's one thing Charlie Brown understands, it's disappointment. The kite-eating tree devours every attempt at flight. The football gets yanked away at the last second. The little red-haired girl never seems to notice him. His baseball team, a record-breaking streak of losses, and yet every spring Charlie Brown returns to the baseball field. Every autumn he lines up to kick that football. Every day he dares to hope that maybe, just maybe, this time will be different. Some might call that insanity, doing the same thing over and over again while expecting a different outcome. But in truth, Charlie Brown shows us something far more spiritual: resilience rooted in faith. His is a faith that reality can shift, that the future is not limited by the past, that possibility is always worth showing up for. Charlie Brown believes in others. He believes in himself. He believes in possibility, even when the outer world gives him no reason, and that's faith in action. The kind that keeps going, even with a skinned knee or a bruised ego. Unity teaches that our thoughts and feelings are creative. What we focus on, we feel. What we feel, we begin to create. Charlie Brown is a walking, talking, round-headed reminder of that truth. He may not see the touchdown, the kite soaring, or the Valentine arriving, but he keeps showing up for the chance. He holds the vision even when circumstances tell him to give up. Hebrews 11:1 says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Charlie Brown lives that verse. His faith isn't flashy. It's not the kind that shouts from the rooftops. It's quiet, steady, and humble. It's faith that gets back up, brushes the dirt off, and tries again. That's how manifestation works, not through magical thinking that ignores reality, but through persistent vision that transcends immediate setbacks. Charlie Brown teaches us that circumstances may temporarily defeat us, but only we decide when to surrender our vision for good. What others see as failure may actually be the necessary resilience that precedes success. We've all witnessed this kind of persistence in the world, in our own lives, or in someone we admire. The person who refuses to give up on a dream, no matter how many times the world says no. The vision that survives setback after setback until finally it takes form. So the next time life pulls the football away, remember Charlie Brown. When the kite crashes or the world seems to say, "Not today," channel your inner blockhead, dust yourself off, realign with your vision, approach again. Because persistence isn't just admirable, it's creatively powerful. It's the energy that invites possibility to come alive. Charlie Brown reminds us hope isn't foolish, it's how we partner with the divine to shape what's possible. And that, my friends, is spiritual genius. Unity principle number 4. Through prayer and meditation, we connect with God. Which brings us to Schroeder, the boy at his tiny piano, lost in the majesty of music while the world bustles around him. While other kids run and play, Schroeder is laser focused at his miniature keyboard. He's devoted to Beethoven, to music, to something sacred that others don't always understand. Lucy lounges across his piano, trying every trick in the book to distract him with chatter and flirtation. But Schroeder, he barely notices. He's not playing for applause. He's not performing to impress. He plays because music is his connection to something greater. For Schroeder, music isn't entertainment, it's prayer. His focus is meditation. His devotion is worship. Every note he plays lifts him beyond the ordinary concerns of childhood into communion with genius, beauty, and the divine. Unity teaches us that there isn't one right way to pray. It teaches alignment, awareness, connection. Prayer isn't about persuading a distant deity to grant wishes. It's about tuning in. Whether you're silent with your eyes closed, walking through nature, or seated at a piano with painted on black keys, it's the heart behind the habit that matters. Schroeder doesn't try to use music, he surrenders to it. He doesn't aim to master Beethoven, he allows Beethoven to master him. And in that surrender, that dedication, he touches transcendence. Psalms 101 says, "Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth." And that's what Schroeder does. He makes a joyful noise. Not because anyone is watching, not because the conditions are perfect, but because that joyful noise aligns with him with something greater. And here's the beauty. Schroeder's piano isn't grand. It's small, with black keys that are only painted on. His instrument isn't perfect, but his devotion is. And that's what spiritual practice is really about. It's not about flawless technique. It's about intention, focus, and love. Whether we're meditating, washing dishes, walking, writing, the sacred is found in how we show up. Many of us struggle with meditation because we think we have to silence every thought, every distraction. But maybe the Schroeder method is a better model. The thoughts, the distractions, let them be like Lucy, lounging on the piano, talking away. Let them be there. Just don't stop playing. Keep your focus. Stay in your practice. The world can whirl around you, but you can choose where to direct your attention. Schroeder reminds us that spiritual connection doesn't require perfect circumstances or a quiet world. The Lucys will always be there. The black keys may be painted on, but what matters is showing up with dedication. What matters is choosing to make your joyful noise, to play your sacred song no matter what's happening around you. So whatever your piano may be, an actual keyboard, your desk, your garden, your family life, play it with love, intention, and focus. That is the heart of spiritual practice. That is where the divine meets us. This was the perfect segue into our meditation. So I'll save the fifth spiritual principle and fifth member of the Peanuts gang for after. Thinking about this, I remembered the way that adults always sounded in the cartoon. And I think that's how spirit can sound to us when we don't take the time to quiet our mind and be still. So let's take a moment now to settle in. Feel your body making contact with what's supporting you. Allow your breath to find its natural rhythm. There's no need to change anything. Simply notice the gentle rise and fall of your chest. As you continue breathing naturally, imagine yourself in an open field on a spring day. The air is fresh, the breeze gentle, you're holding a kite, your own spiritual kite ready to be launched into the vast blue sky above. The kite represents your hopes, your dreams, your deepest truths. Like Charlie Brown, you may have tried to fly this kite many times before. Perhaps it crashed, got tangled in a tree, or never quite made it off the ground. But today you're here again, ready to try once more. Feel the weight of the kite in your hand. Notice its colors, its shapes. This is your unique expression of divine creativity. Now, like Linus, acknowledge any fear or uncertainty you might be feeling. Perhaps you're clutching your own version of a security blanket. That's perfectly okay. Divine presence is with you, even in your uncertainty. Take a deep breath in and out. As you prepare to launch your kite, channel your inner Snoopy. Feel the joy of creative expression, the delight of possibility. You are not limited by past experiences or others' expectations. You are a divine being expressing in human form. Take another breath in and out. Now step forward with Charlie Brown's persistence. Feel your feet on the ground, solid and determined. Your vision remains clear despite any past disappointments. Begin to run. Feel the wind against your face. Release your kite into the air and watch as it catches the breeze. Like Schroeder at his piano, bring your full attention to this moment. Focus on the feelings of the string in your hands and the gentle pull as your kite dances with the wind. Take another breath in and out. Now we'll enter a moment of silence. In the silence, simply be with your kite as it soars. If thoughts arrive, notice them without judgment, like Lucy lounging on Schroeder's piano. Then gently return your attention to your breathing and your kite. Notice how it feels to have stayed present with your kite. Perhaps it soared high, perhaps it struggled. Either way, you were there, fully present. Know that you can always return to this field, this kite, this moment of presence. The divine is always with you in triumph and in struggle. Take one final deep breath in and out. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes, carrying this sense of possibility with you. Now on to Unity Principle 5. We live the truth we know. And finally, Lucy Van Pelt. Yes, bossy, opinionated, quick-tempered Lucy, the girl with the 5-cent psychology booth, always ready with advice, the one who pulls the football away just as Charlie Brown dares to hope he'll finally kick it. On the surface, it's easy to cast Lucy as the villain in the Peanuts world. But look closer. Lucy isn't the villain, she's the catalyst. Lucy reflects the parts of ourself that crave control, that question everything, that test others and get tested right back. She's the eternal skeptic, the challenger, the one who demands that we move beyond nice-sounding words to actual lived truth. Lucy doesn't let anyone get away with spiritual platitudes. She asks questions. She expects real answers. When she makes observations, they cut through pretense like a hot knife through butter. And isn't that what living our truth requires? Not just speaking it, not just believing it, but embodying it, especially when someone like Lucy challenges us. How many times has Lucy's sharp questioning pushed Charlie Brown to articulate what he really believes? How often has her presence forced Linus to defend his faith with clarity and conviction? Even her interruptions at Schroeder's piano give him the chance to demonstrate true devotion by staying focused despite distractions. Lucy might drive us crazy, but she also drives us deeper. In spiritual communities, we need the Lucys, those who challenge us to align our walk with our talk, those who call us out when our words don't match our actions, the ones who won't let us get comfortable repeating spiritual ideas without asking if we're truly living them. Unity teaches that spiritual truth isn't meant just to soothe us, it's meant to transform us. And transformation rarely happens without challenge, without discomfort, without someone or something pushing us beyond the cozy edges of what we already know. That's Lucy's role. She stirs the pot. She forces growth. She reminds us that faith isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about staying true to our highest principles, even in the midst of it. We've all had those Lucy moments. Maybe it was someone who asked us a question that stung because it revealed we weren't fully aligned with our values. Maybe it was an experience that challenged us to go deeper, to get clearer, to be braver. Those moments can feel uncomfortable, even unwelcome, but often they're exactly what we need to grow. So the next time you encounter a Lucy in your life, or feel your own inner Lucy emerging, pause before you label her the problem. She's not the obstacle to your spiritual journey. She might just be the spark your journey needs, the one who helps you question, the one who helps you get real, the one who helps you live your truth out loud. The path to spiritual growth with Unity and the Peanuts gang. So here we are, standing alongside this remarkable cast of cartoon characters who have, in their simple, funny, and sometimes heartbreaking ways, revealed deep spiritual truth. Linus shows us faith, trusting even when we feel vulnerable. Snoopy shows us joy, the bold, imaginative expression of our divine spark. Charlie Brown shows us persistence, the power of vision that keeps going despite setbacks. Schroeder shows us devotion, how spiritual practice can be our prayer. And Lucy shows us growth, challenging us to live with honesty and authenticity. Together, they show us ourselves. They remind us that spiritual growth isn't neat or perfect. It's messy, funny, full of flops, and flying kites that get stuck in trees. But it's real. Charles Schulz once said, "Keep looking up. That's the secret of life." And in those 4 words is all the wisdom we need. Looking up means keeping perspective beyond today's struggle. It means remembering we are spiritual beings trying to learn, to fail, and to get back up. So when life feels like Lucy just pulled the football away again, look up. When your kite crashes, look up. And when the world is noisy and distracting, look up. Because the spiritual life isn't about flying the kite perfectly, it's about flying it anyway. And as you go into your week, carry these Peanuts teachers with you. Be like Linus. Be like Snoopy. Be like Charlie Brown, Schroeder, and yes, even Lucy. And when in doubt, remember, the great pumpkin of divine presence is always with you. Keep flying your kite. Keep looking up. That's the secret. Thank you.